People of the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as People of Seven on Twitter and YouTube, people elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and my soaps, Purple Butterfly Soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. And I'm here in the soap lab prepping to make a really big batch of soap and a wedding soap that's going to have a special technique and a couple of different elements that I haven't tried before together. I've tried this one for this soap and this one for that soap, but these two soaps are going to marry. The techniques are going to marry. It's for wedding soaps. I figure, why not? Anyway, in the meantime, I'm prepping my soap lab, and someone asked me, what all do you need to be prepared for soaping? So I'm going to show you my bare minimum, okay? First, you're going to need a stick blender. I'm doing the laundry, so not the laundry, the dishes. Need a stick blender, the kind that has a blade that pops off. That is mandatory number one. You need various utensils like a strainer, a spoon, preferably a tea spoon this long. You need a spatula, stuff like that. That's dedicated to soaping only. Do not use it for food. Do not use it for any other thing other than soaping. My Lye Pad solution is usually mixed up in one of these. This has a code on the bottom of it that says PP, which means it's strong enough to withstand the heat of lye with water and not melt. That's very important. All of your soaping pots should either be PP or stainless steel or Pyrex. Pyrex is expensive. I went with the plastic, okay? I have several of these. These are basically cups that came from like pudding cups and Jello. I use that to mix color. They never get the soap in there because I don't know what the number is, and let's find out just while I'm thinking about it. It's got the little triangle and it's PP as well, which means I can use these to mold the soap in. Then I have minimum 4 of these. These are the 1 quart size. This is you get these at Office Depot or some place that sells like Small Pro, a hardware store that sells paint buckets. This one is a 2.5 quart. This is a 1 quart. I have a 5 quart, and I even have a 5-pound one. Okay, then my stainless steel pot. If you look real close, you'll see something different about that pot compared to other pots. It has a pink handle. Okay, here's my mom's stainless steel pot. This is used only for food. And when someone wanted to say, oh, you took my pot, I had to remind them 2 things. 1, their pot's much bigger than my little 12-quart soap pot. And 2, my handle is pink. I did that with nail polish. So everybody in the house knows if it's pink, it's used for soaping. If it is upstairs, it's used for soaping. If it belongs to me, it's used for soaping. And at some point in time, because I just found out who can do it for me, it's going to actually be labeled soaping pot, do not use for food, because it could be etched right on there in a very reasonably inexpensive manner. And then you need a rack of some type. I use this for drying or for stacking. Okay. This was actually bought as a soaping rack, but you can buy whatever fits that kind of criteria. is stainless steel and it's coated. So yeah, use what works. Now in the soaping pot, the stainless steel one that you just seen, I was washing out my silicone liners. Okay, that brings us to another thing. Anything that you make soap in, soap is fun to make, but it's more fun to get out of the soaping mode. A lot of people will say, oh, I can use this for soap, but anything that you use for soap, be able to get it out. In other words, this is a nice size. It's Pyrex. It will not melt or get disintegrated for making soap. But how you gonna get it out of there? You can't like that. It will hold tighter than the glass on that surface. So you need a mold that will allow you to release, and you have to use so many layers of freezer paper or parchment paper to get soap out of a Pyrex mold when you could just get a cereal box. I'm not kidding. There's actually a video on how I made a slab mold from a honeycomb box. You could use any wooden surface. I mean, like this is one of my soap molds. You will have to use a liner for it. My liner happens to be silicone that fits right in here. But most wooden molds, they're not expecting you to just pour the soap in the mold. This just to hold the shape of it, you have to use a liner. This is wooden, by the way. Do not wash these. There's only two ways to clean a wooden mold, especially if soap gets stuck in there. That's by hand with a knife and a brush, or by freezing it. Like this was the mold I used for the Longhorn DNA swirl, and the design was higher than the mold. Just take and brush it a couple of good times when you get a chance, and do it when your surface is completely dry, slightly damp, and will be put on a surface where you could dry it off real quick and let it air dry, because otherwise you're going to have a problem. It will warp. Okay. Now, let's get to the silicone molds here, because by now it's clean. Oh, and when you go to make cleanup water for your soap molds, use your stainless steel pot. Use the leftover soap that was in there if you made the soap previous day, and that way all you gotta do is rinse. And because I actually boil mine, that way I make sure the lye is completely dead in there, so forth and so on. Then after I'm done soaping for the day, that water is still hot. I can just go ahead and use it to soap for another day, and make sure that the new soap gets the same treatment, completely sterilized, completely clean, and not just hanging around being lye heavy and all that. Now listen to this. You can actually hear the squeaking, because not only is it completely clean, it's grease free. But even if it wasn't, oil from soap will absorb that grease right back in there. This is the one that came with this. Ta-da! Although this will fit in there, it's just a little bit short because one's a 2-pound mold and one is a 3-pound mold. So when it comes time to get the soap out, since that's a silicone liner, it will come out. This one was my original mold that I originally started with. It's silicone, nothing sticks to it, but there's a slight problem. It bevels out when I'm using it if the batch is particularly heavy, and it didn't have a wooden frame to line it, so basically you just have a bunch of issues, or you had to deal with this batch of soap is this size and the middle part is that size and this part is this size, and you had to always be measuring your finished product because nothing was the same size. Anyway, the molds that I got now are consistent. As long as I cut them all 1 inch increments or 1.5 inch increments, I weighed the first one and all of them will now be the exact same weight, the exact same size, the exact same measure. Is a good thing. Oh, almost forgot. Also, you need bare minimum. And see, that's a good thing about soap. Everything is washable using what you use to make it. Soap cleans soap, okay? So my goggles also went in there. And I know somebody's going to go, but you wear glasses, you don't need goggles. The last thing I need for anything to get past the glasses and get in my eye, and I certainly don't want raw soap on my glasses. So yeah, guess what? I usually put the goggles on top of the glasses. Okay. Now that was wet, so bad demonstration, but you get the point. These are oversized goggles made for people that wear glasses. So as long as your glasses are standard size, these oversized goggles will, it has a safety rim right here. It has a blocker on this side. And, my glasses will still be contained within the goggles. There's only one issue I have is right there. There's a little teeny discoloration. That was there when these goggles were given to me. And I think that's why they gave them to me. And 90% of the time, it's no issue. As long as you don't look up and go, well, that's cloudy. Let me do this. Let me do that. Realize it's on your frame and keep it moving. So that's the basic stuff. Everything else is make sure you have some nitrile, latex, or vinyl gloves to be used in tangent with the goggles. You don't want to touch live water or soap products without using some goggles. I even use, the goggles and the gloves. And I even use gloves just to cut the soap because that way I erase my fingerprints from the finished product. And say, for instance, I made a hot batch. Don't want that touching your skin. If it's too mushy, don't want that touching your skin. If it came out absolutely perfect, you want to show the world, so you're going to hold it up like this, and it's not touching your skin. So when you're working with stuff that has to be sterilized or clean or a certain level, take that extra precaution. The safety of the gloves is your best friend. The safety of the goggles is your best friend. Wear long sleeves, okay? I also wear an apron. I also make sure, hold on, ta-da, I have shoes on my feet and I have on long pants. Those are very important. There are a lot of soapers that will tell you, hey, I got my gloves on, I got my goggles on, I got on long sleeves. What? And then you read about these same people had to take a trip to the emergency room because soap got on their leg because their legs didn't have pants that was all the way down, or it got on their foot or inside their shoe. Now, these are some soft shoes, which means if soap gets on there, I can literally peel them off like a pair of socks. There's a reason I have on these type of shoes in case that ever happens. Okie dokie. Also, I wear a mask when I make soap. The mask is to keep me from inhaling the fumes, although the way I make it, I usually have the soap pot here and my face is over here, and when I'm stirring, I'm using this long spoon and I'm over here. And by the time I come back to the heat of it all, because you have to wait till it clears before you can actually use it, I let mine cool completely and then stir it again. But now I'm in the safe zone. There's no fumes at that point. So everything I do for soaping, there's a reason behind it, even if it doesn't make sense to the person that's looking on. That's like I was going to make the soap down here, where I originally started, but right here is the only plug that's available for the stick blender, and it has failed. It's like you plug it in and it'll drop, when I'm working with chemicals or whatever, I don't need stuff falling on my head from the sky, so forth, so on. So my soap lab that is set up for such, I'm just gonna do it there. So I do intend to film this video for the wedding soap, and you'll probably look at this video and go, "Well, that's a dark room." The room is made of wood. It doesn't allow a lot of light, but by the same token, safety first. My soaping lab is geared for my soaping needs, and this is the kitchen in my mom's house. So the rules are different. The walls are white, there's a latex, shiny coat paint, and the walls are straight. My room, not only is it wooded, but the ceiling slants, which means light kind of. But for the most part, people have been able to see what I'm doing on them, so it works out. And this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and my soaps, Purple Butterfly Soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. Y'all stay blessed and stay tuned. Bye now.